G'day everybody, Simon here, Explosive Action, back for another metal vinyl update. I've got only 4, but I've got some great OG vinyl here to take a look at, so let's get into it. So like I said, only 4 records here, so this should be a pretty quick update by my standards anyway. The first one we're going to take a look at here is the, shall we say, sophomore full length, or maybe just the sophomore release from Hirax, quality thrash band with a quality thrash cover here. Look at that, absolutely glorious. I think you know what you're going to get when you put this one on the stereo. And yeah, I didn't know what I was going to get because the first thing I did was put the needle down, and I got a massive surprise because the first track is 32 seconds long and is essentially, retrospectively, a grindcore song. It's just 32 seconds of borderline, basically a blast beat with the usual vocals from Hirax over the top, the clean singing kind of wails in 32 seconds. So, okay, scratch my head. And then it moved on to the next track, which was proper length for them. It's 2 and a bit minutes long, and it's sort of one of those faux record scratch kind of deals. And then you just get that usual sort of angry mix, nuclear assault, DRI, the kind of stuff that Hirax did on their first album from the year before, I think it was. And they just bring the same ferocity again, but probably even angrier, I would say, on this thing than on the debut album. But yeah, the next track on here, we'll flip it over here. Unholy Sacrifice, so the third track, really. That's, again, has those short bursts of drums that are like, man, these guys have been listening to some Napalm. Because it's just got the blasts again. And I think that's probably down to the new drummer, Eric. Maybe he just wanted to, maybe he didn't get the mission statement. I don't know. Maybe he did. It is super fast. And it's great. I mean, it sounds fantastic. He used to be in DRI in their demo days. So I guess he's just brought some of that hardcore edge to the sound of Hirax. I mean, they already really were, but Jesus, I mean, basically grind. But anyway, not complaining. It's great. Lightning Thunder, the next track on here, just again similar kind of thing. Not as much blast in this one, but just rounds out the very short side A because this thing isn't very long. This is a totally aggression dominated mini LP. Maybe we can go with that at a whopping 16 minutes long. 8 tracks, 7.5. I mean, the first one's 32 seconds, and it's just over and done with before you know what to do with yourself. You don't have time to scratch yourself. Like, you could have literally fit this onto a 33 RPM 7-inch, I think. Just about got away with it. But hey, look, it's great. And, you know, Caton's clean singing, his wails always see their way through the aggression of this thing. You would expect, particularly with the extra ferocity on these tracks, to go for a more Germanic, rough vocal approach, but no, and it's great that they don't. It's Caton's band, it's his baby, and he can do what he likes. He's the most metal guy you'll ever see. I hear that he's like, he's the kind of guy. Where is he? Here he is there on the left. He's the kind of guy that apparently, if he sees you in the street wearing a Destruction shirt, will come up to you and strike up a conversation. Like, he still does that now. He's just metal for the sake of metal, and that's fantastic. You got to love it. As I said, 8 tracks, 16 minutes, and it's just fury. The thing is just, it is just hate, fear, and power. Just bam, in your face. The next thing that even approaches a full length didn't come out to 2004. The band kind of fell asleep. There was some 7 inches around turn of the century, but yeah, I mean, I guess they sort of blew out their final anger on this EP and then went to bed for like 15, 16, 17 years. It's just, yeah, but anyway, it's great. I enjoy it, and like I said, it's over and done with in super, super quick. You get a inner thingy with the band looking very goofy. There's Caton there on top. Lyrics, not too sure what fell out. Oh yeah, that's right. This thing still had the shrink wrap on it when I got it, and there is the hype sticker, which suggests it was a $6.98 thing. What do they call it? Did they even call it an EP? A major step forward for Orange County's raging metalcore band. I take offense. Heavy drums, grinding axes, and melodic vocals in a flash of energy. $6.98 suggested USA price. Also available on the cassette. This is the Restless and Metal Blade version, so Restless and Metal Blade. There's also a Metal Blade, maybe it was Metal Blade and Roadrunner, or just Metal Blade. I don't know, I can't remember. But yeah, there you go. Has the Metal Blade logos in the center. So I mean, bam! It's just in and out before you know what's going on. It's a great little mini LP here. Hate, Fear, and Power from Hirax. Recommended stuff. Wouldn't you know it, as soon as I started doing this video, the neighbor starts mowing his lawn. Hopefully you can't hear it, but if you can, just pretend it's extra metal raising guitars. And we're going to move on to the next one here, which is what I've been really eyeing this off because of the really cool cover. It's kind of cool in a crap way. I like the cover, it's fun, and the big metal logo, I.N.C, Indestructible Noise Command, with their sophomore album, The Visitor, from 1988. This just barks out from the onset with the opening track called Dry Heave. We've all had a bit of a dry heave before. And again, in that, like Hirax, a very nuclear assault kind of way. That lawnmower is going to piss me off a second. Very punky, very snotty, a bit crossover, but it's all just pure thrash all the way through. Like the drums, incredibly punchy. The odd lyrics. I found that the lyrics were kind of strange. I mean, okay. Dry heave, your words are empty. Dry heave, just like your head. Your words and thoughts are equal to a fucking drunken dry heave. Okay, I mean, that's the kind of stuff I might have come up with in high school, so, you know, whatever. I got no idea what's going on, but it's a solid thrasher with sort of a 1-2 drum, dun, 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 just bang. It's not like a double kick frenzy or anything like that. It is on the punkier side. Has rototom roll, which I was very happy about, and it's not the only time you hear a rototom on this album. They do it quite sporadically. They just sort of out of nowhere just go dum, and you know it's the rototom. It's so tightly wound. That's good stuff. It's got like a demon spewing at the end of the track. Like it's all class. I mean, you know, dry heave. So they got that tongue-in-cheek nuclear assault kind of thing going on. The next track, there's the guys looking very skater. Look at those shorts. I got a bed in ones like that. My God. Bedtime Stories is the next track. And that's got like a real kind of For Whom the Bell Tolls, real stomping bottom end to it. Like the riffs are just crawling in molasses, so heavy and pounding. Just dun 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 dun, like that kind of thing. Oh man, it's good. It's a heavy one. It's punishing sounding. Great track on that one. The next one, What Are You Looking At? I don't know. What are you looking at? That's a sort of bit more a straight ahead kind of chuggy number, not the stomping chug, but just a straightforward kind of riff. Till it gets to the bridge after the chorus, gets a little bit more progressive then, kind of inventive. Just like the 1988, you know, like it feels a little bit 1990, like they're maybe a little bit ahead of the curve there with some of the leads and the thoughts they put behind some of these songs. Most of the time, it's just straight up thrash with that punky edge, but you know, every now and then it just sort of surprises you. Then the last track on side A, thankfully, is not an AC/DC cover, but it is called Thunderstruck, and that's just a ripper of sort of staccato thrash, just with a great lead. It's very Testament sounding, a very shredding. I almost thought sort of Malmsteen solo, like sweep picking kind of craziness thing going on. So that was fun. I didn't expect that, but yeah. And side B, kind of, it's more of the same until you get to the ending here, which is a duet of cover songs from a band called The Cars. The song is Just What I Needed and Candy-O. And you're thinking this is going to be crap, but no, it's those songs done very thrashy, so they get a pass from me. It's fine. And yeah, I mean, just that cover artwork, it's good stuff. A solid sophomore. I do want to check out their first album now. And again, it's another one of those bands I think did a couple albums in the 80s and then fell asleep for a while. Might be back now. Bit of a thrash collage there. It's kind of circular. You don't know which way is up. There's a bit of up. There we go. We'll go with that one. Looking incredibly drunken and goofy. And that's pretty much what you get in there. And the record itself. Nice sort of red center on this one. There you go. With the Giant Records logo. So this is out on a US or New York, I think, label called Giant Records, who, if you look at their roster, pretty much the only metal thing they've got is I.N.C. I couldn't recognize anything else on the label. So yeah, anyway, there you go. 1987 was their debut Razorback, and I would like to check that one out. But as for the Visitor, good quality thrash, good sound to it, and yeah, good stuff from 1988. Well, from I.N.C, we go to D.A.M with English band Destruction and Mayhem, D.A.M for short. The second and final album from these guys. And another one that hits the ground running with an absolute belter of an opener, a track called Man of Violence. The 1991 production values on this thing are so obvious. The guitar tone, chef's kiss. It is. He's savage sounding guitar tone. It is like Sepultura Arise is like the closest thing mixed to with like Zentrix for Whose Advantage. Somewhere in there, bit of a Morris sound vibe to it, but it was recorded in Germany. But damn, it is one razor sharp guitar and like really, I don't know if it's tuned low or if it's just the pedal or whatever. I don't know enough about guitars to really know that stuff, but damn, it is a good sounding guitar. Good stuff. And a real belter of an opening track, as I said. The second track, House of Cards, notches it down a little bit, but it is no less heavy. Solid bridge towards the end of that one with an evil keyboard added to it, like really evil sounding keyboard. And then a shredding solo kind of sees that one out as the guy's looking very thrash over. I don't know what that is. Kind of looks like a toilet, but it also looks like a giant candle. I don't think I want to know what that is. It's probably a Zimmer seat or something. Whatever. Then we have a track called Appointment with Fear, third track on here. That one's got some sort of gang shouts being added because this is thrash from 1991, so you get your Anthraxisms, of course. But the guitar tone, again, heavy as balls, remains a fixture for the whole track. Got some blazing riffs there in the midsection, really stick out to me. And I really like there's a lead riff that's around the verses. Really, really stood out. Really great riff there. It's a little progressive. Would kind of fit something like Sanctuary's first album. That's what I got out of that one. The closer on side A, Winter's Tears. That one dials it back a bit. Does you sort of your traditional last track on an album side approach where it's got the undistorted guitars, the clean guitars. You got to go like when you're a non-metal band, the last track on an LP side is the quiet one, and they do that to combat the inner groove distortion. When you're a metal band, often that's when they're going to start like bringing in the acoustics or just turning the distortion pedal off for a bit to try and make as much use of the space as they can. And they do that on this one, and it works out really well because it's a very menacing sounding riff. As I said, not distorted. Then the pedal is put down, and then there's drawn out, just these big heavy riffs come out. Really, really great. Overdriven to hell. Alternates with the ominous vocal and the clean guitar, so it comes back and forward, sort of Jekyll and Hyde kind of thing. And then we switch into this crushing, like double kick passage with Jason McLaughlin. He's the vocalist, soaring vocals over the top of that. So yeah, great. And again, side B is no slouch as well. Kind of cover the side A on this one, but it's a great little album. I really, really dug this one, and I don't think these guys really get the love. I think a good comparison to D.A.M is Slammer. Also, I think they're also out of the UK. I think from memory, they had very similar trajectory. Had one album in 1989, one album in 1991, like this one, and then they just pull up stumps. And that was the end of Slammer. Unless they've come back, I think that's the end of them. Same with D.A.M. They just put all their what they learned from the first album, they put it into the second one. They didn't become Metallica, and they just sort of stopped, I guess. But it's good. I mean, the cover artwork's probably a little bit average, but it does, does what it needs to, I suppose. It's never been reissued. This is a Noise Records. Is it Noise Records? Yeah. Noise Records up there. There's a few other labels down here. Premiere. Oh, that's probably the instruments. But yeah, it's a Noise Records thing. Interesting. I've got some kind of like Israeli import here. Hedazi. I don't know. It looks Hebrew to me, which is interesting pickup. Take a look inside. There's the band looking 1991 era sort of Slayer, very much going on there. There's the lyrics and some more band photos. Very cool. And yeah, black vinyl with a yellow center there with the Noise records. Don't often get yellow centers, especially with Noise records. So yeah, D.A.M, D-A-M, Inside Out. 1991 was a strange year, I think, for metal. A lot of us would agree. I mean, that's when Metallica did the Black album, and it was kind of the final nail in thrash as a whole. I mean, there's obviously bands, but you know, I guess a lot of bands just figure, well, that's it for this. You're going death metal in one avenue, or you're going grunge in the other one. And well, D.A.M gave it a damn good go, is what they did here on Inside Out. I prefer it over the debut. I've got that one as well, but I do prefer this one. I think because that really great guitar tone on here is really really impressive. So yeah, it's a good album, underrated band. If you've never, a lot of people don't tend to gravitate towards UK thrash unless they are of the UK. I've noticed that particularly Americans, they don't look too much into the UK thrash, but definitely give it a go. Me sitting here in Australia with 1 foot in the UK, 1 foot in the US at any given point, I'll give them all a go. So yeah, damn, Inside Out, good stuff from 1991. Next and last I'm showing today is my first dabble with this UK band that was started off as a new wave of British heavy metal band. The sound is always there with them, but on this one, they've definitely gotten a bit faster and a bit heavier and to my liking. This is Raven with Nothing Exceeds Like Excess. Yeah, and I love the cover on this one too, because that speaks a bit more to the kind of stuff I usually listen to than what I would have normally picked up with something like Raven's earlier albums. This is their, can you believe it, 7th full length in 1989. 7 albums. That's quite the effort here. And people with more knowledge than me could definitely go through the history of the band up to this time. But what I do know is, I mean, the band had been around since about 1980 or so, if not the late 70s. Their first album was called Rock Till You Drop in 1981, Wiped Out in 82, and All for One in 83. Now, I'm not very familiar with those ones. I see them around quite a bit. They show up at most record fairs. They're always available for a reasonable price, but people that know me and this channel know that pre-1984 metal, I am really getting picky about, not getting picky about, I'm generally picky about, I'm getting less picky as time goes on. I'm sort of just, getting a bit more into the ocean as we go. I'm kind of regressing. Like 1985 used to be where I was, and I've started to go back, 84, 83 a little bit. But that's just because the sound of heavy metal before those years was very, to my ears, a bit more hard rock influenced. So I'm always looking for that thing that is absolutely definitively metal sounding. So with Raven, I've not really gone and checked out their earlier works, but I believe then they had a bit of a major label shift. They went to Atlantic, and I think were very commercial, maybe found some monetary success, but lost some long-term fans. But then, after a couple albums there, producing some sort of hard rocky style commercial radio-friendly metal, 1989, they came back with this thing. And this is the Raven that I am happy to start off with. This is essentially a speed metal album. Even some proto-thrash going on in here. They've ditched Atlantic and they've gone on to Under One Flag for the UK and Combat for the USA. So already you're speaking my language, right? 2 labels that generally strike gold with me. Yeah, a cover that is definitely more like thrash album. Like that, you look at it and go, well, that's a thrash album. It's definitely the kind of stuff you would expect. So yeah, good stuff. I mean, look at them. They're looking thrash here on the back, right? Not quite, it is speed metal, but, they've got the Slayers going on here. These guys were not living in a bubble. They know what the world is doing at this time. First track, Behemoth, is basically just this demonic intro. Not very long. It's just sort of, very ominous. But then the Die for Allah, which was probably pushing some boundaries at the time, is the first proper track. Speed metal ripper with an almost constant double kick, double bass throughout, which is a bit of a theme, a pleasing theme to me, that there's so much double kick on this album. Always makes me happy. The vocals are not what I expected. They're very shouty and angry. Again, they're doing the Slayer look there. So maybe I don't know if it's always sounded like that, but definitely on this one, it's very shoutier sounding. It does the job for me here. Has some sort of screeching and like there is some hitting notes in there. It's not like, just angry shouting. He's singing. It's just got real rough sound to it. The next track, Give Me a Break, and you'll see a few of these on here. Keeps up the speed, but is a little bit more traditional, sort of mid-'80s Judas Priest sounding metal, mixed with some very targeted but chuggy sort of proto-thrash riffs in there as well. Very tasty. And that double bass, just reminding you it's there. It doesn't stop. It's pretty constant. So happy with that. Into the Jaws of Death, which sounds like a, I don't know, Celtic Frost song title. It slows it down and heavies it up at the same time, with a real crushing doom-like riff, playing over the still very powerhouse drums, this time provided by ex-Pentagram drummer John Hasselvander, I think is how you say his surname. So, I mean, crushing doom kind of track, ex-Pentagram member. You can work that one out. Making his debut on this album here with Raven. So for 6 albums before, different drummer or different drummers, I'm not too sure. But definitely this was his first one. A bit more of a straightforward driving kind of song because it is slower and just sort of anchors itself around those crushing riffs. And the vocal style is accentuated there by John Gallagher's trademark wails mixed in with his sort of shouting. So that's great. His brother Mark on the riffs. If you didn't know, Raven is sort of a brother band, guitarist and singer, both brothers, the Gallagher brothers. Thankfully, nothing to do with Oasis. Oh, Jesus, that would be awful. Yeah, his the riffs, Mark's riffs on this thing could easily shatter cinder blocks. It is a real crushing track. It's a great one. In the Name of the Lord is another upbeat one again. Also been quite accessible. Not too sure what the commercial era really sounded like, but if you were going to say one of the songs was of that kind, I'd say maybe it's this one. This is a surface level sort of anti-church panhandling lyrics in there. You're very low effort kind of anti-religion lyrics in there, but it does the job. And another ripping solo I very much enjoyed. Side A closer, Stick It. Again, we're going back to there's some silliness on here. Has a very sassy sound to it. Adds more crowd shouts in the chorus. You can stick it where the sun don't shine. I mean, come on. Strangely, the song as a whole, with its maybe because it's just coincidental, the pace of it and the way that it sort of gallops along, actually reminded me of Queen's Stone Cold Crazy, but just a bit more speed metal. I don't know if that's just me, but that's what I got from it. Side B opener, Lay Down the Law, is about as close to thrash as these guys get on this album. Maybe forever, I don't know. I need to explore more Raven. But the drums are pretty snappy with a fast sort of 1-2 beat on that one, not so much the double kick. And the frenetic guitar riffs on this one, just never-ending, furious guitar. Very metal sounding song. You Got a Screw Loose. Silly tongue title again, but very peppery sounding again, sassy like that Stick It track, but more aggressive than that one. Thunderlord, that's a better song title, kicks off with a short virtuoso style guitar lead there, then hitting us with the heavies. That's a nice fun heavy track. Go back to the great front cover here again. The King, silly title again, very B-side kind of track, I've got to say. That's probably the least good track on here. It's not that dissimilar to some of the ones that came before it. It's just less exciting. Standard hard rocking song that could appear in the credits to any number of late 80s kind of teen movies, But it does have a solid chugging riff, so, that's fun. The final track, Hard as Nails, goes out with a bang, a fast sort of party headbanger, I guess. Kind of reminds me of Metallica's Phantom Lord mixed with like Megadeth's take on the Mechanics. Somewhere in there, just not as thrash, but it is hard as nails, as it says. Doesn't have the dark edge of those two tracks, but it's a crowd chanting, ripping song and a great one to end the album, I'm sure. Has a bass noodle and even some sort of Mustaineisms and sort of snarly vocals come into it. So yeah, good one to end it out on. So it's a solid album, this one here. Nothing exceeds Like Excess. And a good entry, I think, for me personally into the works of Raven. I think from the one review on Metal Archives, I gathered this might be a overlooked Raven album for bigger fans. Like they might just sort of focus on the older ones. But for me, this was a great entry point. I really dig it. It's got the kind of metal edge that I want from bands. I imagine if I go back and listen to their first album, I'm going to find a very different Raven. But I'm going to go in there with a bit more of an open mind and open ears and check out those first three ones, especially the pre-Atlantic ones, and give them another go and see if they hold up to the kind of sound that I expect from my heavy metals. And yeah, if there's some speed metal type ones in there, oh, do let me know if there's anything else that's similar to this one. That's the ones I would really like to hear first. So there you go, Raven with Nothing Exceeds Like Excess. And that is, as they say, all she wrote. I only have the 4 albums to show you today. It's been a bit dry on getting the OG stuff, probably because if you go back a couple of months, I did 4 mammoth updates of just knocking off some essentials. And yeah, haven't been finding too many in the way of essentials. Just been getting some good extra ones along the way here. Would love to get a few. Like there's a few at the top of my list. Like I want to get Toxic's Think This. That's pretty much the number 1 OG I would like to get at this point. A bit challenging. But there's plenty of other ones out there I want to get as well. So like D.A.M's first album now I would like to pick up. But there you go. That's this update. I hope you did enjoy. If you did, please like and subscribe. Check out this guy. Check out this guy. And I'll see you all next time.